Namaskar, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to this special briefing on Prime Minister's visit to Davos for the World Economic Forum. And to do the briefing, I have with me Secretary ER Shri Vijay Gokhale, Secretary DIPP Shri Ramesh Abhishek, and Additional Secretary DIPP Shri Atul Chaturvedi. I will initially ask Secretary ER to give the initial opening remarks, and then Secretary DIPP will take you through the program of Prime Minister in Davos, as well as certain events which are taking place after Prime Minister's visit as well. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ravish. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today's briefing is on the Prime Minister's visit to Davos. It's a short visit, just 24 hours, but it is a very focused visit. And it is taking place 20 years after the last time that a Prime Minister went to Davos, which was in 1997. At that time, of course, India was an economy which was well below $1 trillion. Today, we're an economy above $2 trillion. And therefore, this visit by a Prime Minister is qualitatively different from earlier visits by Prime Ministers to Davos. The main event, of course, is the keynote speech that the Prime Minister will give at the plenary session on the 23rd of January. And there are other engagements which my colleague, the Secretary in the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, will take you through. There will also be a bilateral engagement with the President of Switzerland. And there are occasions for pull-asides with other leaders as and when these are fixed and depending on the requirements. I think the important thing in this visit is going to be a signal that we engage with the rest of the world in a very multidimensional way. This is occurring at a time when India's attractiveness as an economy has grown, where there is a quantum jump in our rankings in multiple indices, and in the context of the recent reforms that government has announced, particularly in the last 1 year. I think the focus, therefore, is for our Prime Minister to articulate his vision of how he sees the Indian economy as contributing not only to the domestic improvement of for the benefit of the people of India, but also on a global scale. With those few remarks, I would like to invite my colleague, the Secretary in the DIPP, to go through the program and to provide some details. Thank you.
Thank you. On 22nd, there is a roundtable dinner organized for interactions with the global CEOs, including Indian CEOs. There are 60 confirmed participants as on today, 40 of them from 18 different countries and 20 from India. These 60 companies are across 26 different sectors. And the market cap of all these companies is $3.3 trillion. If it had been a country, it would have been 5th largest in the world. 12 of these companies have generated jobs of 4 million around the world. 1 million out of that is in India. 12 companies have been operating in India for over a century. We are looking forward to Prime Minister's interaction with the CEOs of such scale and stature because of the opportunities that India provides today in terms of various sectors, ease of doing business, and so on. As Secretary ER has mentioned, we would like to showcase all these. Just mention quickly also the interaction of the Prime Minister with the 120 members of the International Business Council, which is a forum of the part of the World Economic Forum, actually. It's a properly constituted group within the forum. He'll be interacting with them in the afternoon of 23rd. We have got some very important names there as well. Just to mention a few names from our 22nd dinner, we are getting the CEO of Airbus Group, Dirk Karsten Hoke, the number one in Hitachi Group, Mr. Nakanishi, Hiraoki Nakanishi. Similarly, Professor Klaus Schwab will also be participating in the dinner on 22nd. We have a chairman of BAE Systems, Mr. Roger Carr, chairman, president, and CEO of IBM, Ginny Rometty, just to give you a flavor, and co-founder and co-CEO of the Carlyle Group, David Rubenstein. I'm just giving you some names. Similarly, in the International Business Council also, if you see the list which is there on the World Economic Forum website, the names are very, very, the top names in the world. The CEO of General Motors, Mary Barra, Chairman and CEO of Salesforce.com, CEO of Royal Dutch Shell, Chairman of the Board of Executive Directors of BASF, Nestle, JP Morgan Chase, and whole lot of the people. So these two interactions with 60 and 120 CEOs will provide a direct opportunity for the CEOs to not only interact with the Prime Minister, but also get comfort and information about the transformative changes happening in India, which presents huge opportunities to them. On 22nd evening, we are also having a DIPP. Government of India is hosting a reception in the Congress Center, which is the main venue of the World Economic Forum. About 1,500 delegates are expected to participate in that. We are showcasing the various achievements that India has made in the last few years in terms of ease of doing business, in terms of massive opportunities in future. And also we are going to give a taste of Indian exquisite cuisine to the participants, and also some taste of culture and heritage. Next day, after the plenary session, PM also intends to have an interaction with the Indian CEOs who will be in Davos attending this forum. So these are some of the major highlights of the Prime Minister's program. In addition, 6 honorable ministers are also visiting Davos. Honorable Finance Minister has some very, for one day he will be there on 24th, and he will be addressing some very critical sessions. One will be, of course, the most important being country strategy dialogue on India. This is one of the signature events of the World Economic Forum. So he will be part of that, including the Commerce and Industry Minister and Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas. They will also be part of this discussion. There are other discussions also with Honorable Finance Minister. Commerce and Industry Minister also will have 9 sessions in all in 3 days on 23rd to 25th. Similarly, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister, will be participating in 5 sessions. Railway Minister, Honorable Piyush Goyalji, will be participating in 10 sessions in over a period of 3 days. Dr. Jitendra Singh will also take part in 3 sessions, and Mr. M.J. Akbar, MOS, MEA, will be participating in 2 sessions on 24th. So these are some of the programs of the Honorable Ministers. Large number of these sessions allotted by World Economic Forum to be addressed by our ministers shows the importance that the World Economic Forum has given to India this year. So in addition to the Honorable Prime Minister, we also have these programs. In addition, we are going to organize a large number of roundtables. Please forgive my throat. We will be having a number of roundtables on financial inclusion for promoting digital payments, clean energy solutions for a better future, the development of railway industry in India, developing skills in a digital world, and promoting design in India. These 7 specific investor roundtables have been organized by Invest India. We are hired a space for that, and honorable ministers will be participating in these discussions as well, in addition to the officials. So, and we are also providing the facility of doing yoga by taking 2 acharyas from here, and this is also part of the World Economic Forum program. So this is showcasing of our soft power. Thank you.
Thank you, sirs. Now the floor is open to questions.
23rd morning, 11 a.m. local time. In the plenary.
Just hold on. I think please use the mic, otherwise nothing will be registered.
Which are the Indian CEOs who have confirmed the participation there?
Lots of them. Mr. Baba Kalyani is there, Uday Kotak, Pawan Munjal, B.K. Goenka, Chandrasekharan from Tata, Tulsi Tati, Anand Mahindra, Sunil Bharti Mittal, whole lot of them. Yeah.
Parikshit?
2 brief questions. This is for Secretary ER. Mr. Gokhale, the US has continuously over the last couple of months expressed concern about the trade deficit, $30 billion trade deficit. The US ambassador also recently said that it's time to look at the strategic relationship through the economic lens. As and when the Prime Minister has conversations with world leaders, and if there is a bilateral with President Trump, what is the larger message we'll have on that front? And my question for Mr. Ramesh Abhishek, sir, recently the government announced FDI, 49% FDI for Air India through the government approval route. Any conversations that have been indicated or any companies which have shown interest to talk about this?
This is a multilateral economic conference. I think the Prime Minister's central message is going to be to the international community that India is open, it's ready to do business, it's done major reforms, it's on course to be one of the fastest growing countries in the world in terms of GDP. And I think that the Prime Minister will stick to the centrality of this message. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think President Trump will be in Davos at the same time as our Prime Minister. But the central the point here is that we have to speak about India's achievements in the past few years and the opportunities that India presents to global business, and that will be the message the Prime Minister will deliver.
On Air India, see, the FDI policy earlier prevented a foreign airline from taking equity in Air India. They could take equity in any other airline with government approval, but not in Air India. So this restriction has been removed by the cabinet in the recent changes. Who exactly has expressed interest in Air India, either or otherwise, is something that Ministry of Civil Aviation will know.
May I request all of you to keep your questions linked to the World Economic Forum and Prime Minister's visit to Davos?
My question is to Secretary Ia. Sir, are we looking at some pacts between the business heads at the summit? And also, what are the outcomes we are looking at the summit?
I'm sure there will be some business deals between business persons, but it is not normally practiced that these are part of the official engagements of our Prime Minister. I think that this is not a bilateral visit, therefore it is not to be seen in terms of outcomes, in terms of documents. I think the principal purpose is to give a message to the wider community, because present in the audience will not only be business persons, but also people from other walks of life, political, the media, and so on. So to give a larger message globally, because this is considered one of the major platforms in the world, to also give a message behind closed doors with chief executive officers of companies we are interested in getting investment from, and to speak to the Indian companies about the vision for India in terms of outbound investment as well as inbound flows of technology. I think those are the outcomes that we would like to see.
See, the Prime Minister has been interacting with the CEOs from around the world in various forums in last many years. And you can say that the Davos presents a great opportunity to interact with large number of them in one place at the same time. So that's a great forum, great place where you have so many top CEOs coming. So the message of transformation that is happening in India's economic policy, the changes that are being made, the ease of doing business that is being done, is a great forum to share those and also answer some of the issues and queries if they may have any. That gives comfort to the CEOs. So that is the whole purpose.
Athar?
Hi, good evening. The question is for Mr. Gokhale. Last year, we saw Xi Jinping try and assume a leadership role. He has said, he's gone on record suggesting that capitalism is a double-edged sword, but it can't be blamed for the world's economic problems. Will we see Prime Minister Modi now adopt a similar sort of aggressive stance and basically marketing the India growth story here?
I think we have a lot to speak about to the international community. The form and content of what the Prime Minister intends to deliver is something that we will have to wait for when we hear the Prime Minister. I think the fact is that there are certain economies and certain countries which are contributing more and more to global growth. One of them is China, another of them is India. So the message that essentially we are going to deliver is that we are an open economy. We have done significant reforms. We offer a market, we offer talent, and we would like the world to come and invest in this country. And I think that is the centrality of the message, and it's about India.
Yes, please.
My question to Mr. Abhishek, you said that India is going to showcase what we have achieved in the last few years. And I'm not going into the content of the Prime Minister's speech, but the fact that he has been invited for the key speech there, can you, sir, tell us that what kind of showcasing you are trying to do? What are the indicators and what are the things that we have done in the last few years which you want to show in this summit?
See, the foremost is that projection that India will be 6th and 5th largest economy in the world in the coming years. From 2.3 trillion or dollars, we are going to become $5 and $6 trillion in the coming years. We are going to have a population where the disposable incomes will increase rapidly in the coming years with more and more growth taking place. These present a massive opportunity to foreign companies as well as Indian companies. That's why we are finding that people are coming and tapping these opportunities more and more. Secondly, the transformative reforms that are being done, GST being a prime example of that, and our World Bank doing business ranking jump, that shows that on the ground things are changing. The rankings it's a big deal for global investors. They look at it with great respect because they know how grueling the scrutiny is and the integrity of that process is very high. So these are the kind of reforms, and a whole lot of them. You go sector by sector. The government has taken steps to improve the infrastructure. Look at the massive public investment in infrastructure that is being done. The logistics space is looking at a transformation with this investment and with GST. And we are making our economy more competitive, which has been the major problem. So by doing reforms on several areas, I think these opportunities are very clear. And we have been showcasing this, and Davos presents a great opportunity to showcase this whole opportunity plus the reform agenda to a large number of CEOs at one time.
Smita?
Mr. Gokhale, Smita Sharma from the Tribune. While showcasing India's highlights, could you just take us through maybe one or two key concern areas that India would like to flag at this forum in your interactions? And the kind of statements that have been coming out of the Trump administration, do they give strength to the trade protectionism lobbies?
If you don't mind, I'm going to ask the Secretary DIPP to take that question.
Yeah. See, so far as we are concerned, our policies on trade and investment are very clear. We are all, India is a member of WTO, and we abide by our international obligations very carefully and meticulously. So our policies are very clear, and we continue to engage with all the countries of the world on these terms.
Sridhar?
So recently the US ambassador had commented that a lot of the American companies are facing hurdles in operating in China. And he had said that India had a massive opportunity of sort of becoming a manufacturing hub for these American companies to operate. So when you read out a list of the top global CEOs who are going to meet Prime Minister Modi, will this be one of the issues that will be raised, that he will ask them to invite them to make India a hub? Thanks.
Well, I'm sure that will be the central message that he will give. It is not for me to say, not for us to say as to where they will relocate from or in what form that investment will come, but I think the central message is that we would like a greater amount of foreign investment in all the sectors that we have opened up recently and earlier, and that the government of India and the state governments are willing to take whatever steps are necessary to get that investment.
So this is Amitosh from NDTV. The question is for you. At a time when, the US has been harping on about the fact that Donald Trump is going to be coming there and trying to put across the aspect of America first, and he's giving the closing speech while the Prime Minister of India is going to be giving the keynote speech, and they won't be meeting at a time when also the World Economic Forum is focusing on something that is about trying to work when the world is fractured. That's the theme. Will there be any specific message from the Prime Minister of India, keeping in mind they're not meeting with Donald Trump, who has his own agenda, about trying to work together as a country when the focus will be specifically on India and America, when the speeches are being given by the premier leaders of both?
I don't think there was any plan for the two leaders to meet each other. So the issue of whether they are both present at the same forum and are not meeting is a moot point. I think the Prime Minister's message is very clear that we are an economy which has become already an engine of global growth, and that engine is going to grow in the coming years. And to that extent, our vision is that of an open, inclusive system, global system, whether it's investment, whether it's trading, whether it's building infrastructure for that matter. And in that context, we would welcome participation of foreign countries and foreign countries' investments in our own growth, and we would likewise want to participate in the growth of other countries. I think that is the message that the Indian Prime Minister will deliver at Davos.
Ashish.
Hi sir, this is Ashish Singh from NewsX. Yeah. As you mentioned, sir, it's Prime Minister Modi's visit at Davos would be the first Indian Prime Minister in 20 years. And even after Prime Minister has taken over the central government here, 3 or 4 such WEFs have happened. Is there any specific reason or set of reasons that Prime Minister chose this year to visit Davos at WEF? Is it just the invitation for the plenary session, or this set of reasons, economic, political, a message, or something that was being weighted, like the high increase in the ranking of ease of doing business? What are the set of reasons or specific reasons?
Well, my sense is that the Prime Minister wanted to show that things were happening on the ground in terms of economic development before speaking about it. And in the last 1 year, a number of reforms have occurred. Improvement in the rankings in a number of agencies is one reason. As Secretary DIPP said, the GST, the recent reforms introduced on single brand retailing and so on are other reasons. And so the message is we have opened up the economy, not that we are going to, we have opened up the economy, and you're welcome to come and take advantage of it.
Sir, would you like to add something to this? Akhilesh ji.
Sir, if you don't mind, part of negative appreciation is also coming on bureaucracy. Recently, Benjamin Netanyahu also said that bureaucracy is becoming a hurdle. His message was like that in front of Prime Minister himself. So are you going to dispel this misconception or conception, whatever it is, in Davos?
It falls on me to answer this. So. See, bureaucracy is an essential tool of delivering governance around the world. So it's not something that is, unheard of. Now, over a period of time, it's a fact that in our country, we had accumulated very complex procedures and processes, way of interacting with citizens, and that made life very difficult for common people as well as businesses. That's a fact of life. Now, the important thing is, in the last 3 years, we have tried to make dramatic improvements in this situation. If you see the example of World Bank report, it only covers only 10% of the ease of doing business effort that we are doing. It is only one small part in Mumbai and Delhi, and some significant government departments. And some of those interventions are very big, actually. Insolvency and bankruptcy court, we didn't have any, now we have it. So a lot of changes are taking place. Look at the ranking of states that we are doing on ease of doing business. It is massive. Last year, 7,000 plus reforms were done. This year, almost 15,000 reforms, and some of that would include the earlier 7,000, have been done. Now, we can see that now within bureaucracy, there is some people are becoming champions of change. Technology-driven governance, reducing interface with the people, time-bound approvals, deemed approvals, risk management system, robust systems in place, Inspector Raj being dismantled one by one. See, all this legacy of 60, 70 years are not going to go away in a day. But I think what needs to be appreciated is we are going in that direction. When we go to these events, not only even when we have CEOs coming to us, we identify the problems that they face in India, not only in government of India, but states. And one by one, we address those problems. When we are going to Davos, we have identified the problems pointed out by many of these companies at policy level, central government level, or state government level, or regulator level. And we have held meetings to see that many of these are at least resolved. If no resolution is taking place, at least we know what is being done about it. So those are the kind of efforts that are being made today. So I think the effort that is going on needs to be appreciated.
Akhilesh ji, last round of maybe 2 to 3 questions.
सर मैं मनीष हूँ इंडिया टीवी से। ये कहा जा रहा है कि जिस समय प्रधानमंत्री दावोस में होंगे ठीक उसी समय पाकिस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री भी वहाँ होंगे, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान के नए प्रधानमंत्री के बनने के बाद ये पहला मौका होगा जब दोनों देश के प्रधानमंत्री एक जगह होंगे। तो कोई गुंजाइश है कि उनकी मीटिंग हो या कर्टसी कॉल हो?
So I'm Shahid Abbas from Cogensis. May I ask the Secretary DIPP as to what is the session that the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will be addressing? As you said, it will be a very important session.
Sorry, Ranjit ji.
Is there any special session on yoga? What the yoga acharyas will be doing there? Giving performances or training sessions or what?
Sir, you take the first one, sir.
On the first question, as far as I am aware, no meeting is planned between the two Prime Ministers.
Coming to yoga first, it has been included in the regular program of the World Economic Forum. We are offering classes every day. 2 experts are going from here, and we have arranged that. Including, we are offering a facility of doing yoga in the Alps itself. So, yeah, absolutely. Secondly, on Finance Minister's program, right? See, the very important country strategy dialogue on India, it takes place. So, our Finance Minister, Minister for Commerce and Industry, and also Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas will be a part of it from the Government of India side. This interactive session is meant to understand current market developments and policy priorities for India, provide views and perspectives, identify opportunities for PPP. So it's an opportunity for political leaders, business executives, and policy experts to engage on a forward-looking dialogue. So that will be the most important session perhaps, but Finance Minister also has 2 other sessions.
Thank you, sirs. With this, we conclude the special briefing on Prime Minister's visit to Davos. Thank you all for joining and have a good day.